style, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of WoW Cool Robot, a show about Mobile Suit Gundam, specifically a show about Mobile Suit Gundam Double Zeta. I'm Max, I use he, him pronouns, and with me, as always, is Jake.
Hey there, Max, I'm Jake, and I use the he, him pronouns also.
Okay, let me tell you about my tale of woe, Jake. Not a minute ago, I finally was able to get into the recording studio, and I said, Jake, I have a crazy story, but I'm going to save it until we're on mic. It's been a minute and a half later, and now we're on mic. So, as you know, we just moved into our apartment, my girlfriend and I, like, literally a week ago. And, you know, we had to do the whole checklist of, like, what's wrong with your apartment? So they can, you know, send maintenance to check it out because, you know, stuff's wrong with the apartment, and it's not our fault because it was like this when we moved in, so we don't have to, you know, get tanked on our deposit or what have you. And we didn't realize this until a couple days later, but the dryer doesn't really work is the thing. It's really important to have a working dryer. And, you know, we're fortunate enough to have an apartment that has a washer and dryer in it. We don't have to, like, you know, go to the clubhouse building, or we don't have to go to a laundromat or anything. And for, you know, we're grateful and privileged for that. But this dryer, who I think it was 3 people who lived here before us, and I guess they just didn't really know how to keep things clean because the dryer, we were like, you know, why is the dryer not cleaning our clothes? They're barely dry, or they're still damp coming out. As it turns out, the fucking, much like you can slap a unicorn Gundam just chock full of fucking psycho frame, you can slap a dryer full of lint. This thing had so much lint in it. Like, at first I was like scooping it out with a fork. And when I got too deep, I was like, okay, well, shit, we can't really get anything more than that. This will have to be good enough. And then I decided to try and take a screwdriver and take it apart. But as it turns out, it's way harder to take these things apart than it would seem. And it was
such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it was not worth the effort. And I wasn't going to risk getting in trouble for trying to take apart something where I can just be like, okay, fucking, I'll let maintenance do it eventually. And I was like, well, hold on. If I take it apart a little bit, just so there's a little bit more wiggle room between the lint trap and the front frame of it, I can kind of wedge it open a little bit more than usual, and I can stuff a vacuum, like the little long cleaning handheld nozzle down there. And you can tell that the people who lived here before were stupid, because there's a plastic spoon in there. Clearly they'd use that to try and scoop out the lint. And it dropped, and they just didn't do anything about it, and they left it in there and just continued to let the lint pile up. So they were aware of the problem, but never did anything about it. And I just have to wonder, why didn't they get maintenance to work on it? Or maybe maintenance just didn't work on it. But maintenance has been good to us. We're new. I don't know. Maybe they've pissed off the people who run the whole apartment complex. Either way, we filled like 2 vacuum canisters full of lint. So hopefully, my clothes are drying as we record right now. Hopefully when I'm done, I can check on my clothes and they'll be dry. Fingers fucking crossed. I don't expect it to happen, but I hope it does.
Man, if you just, like, empty the lint trap out every time you do the
It's
laundry,
not
it's
hard.
It's almost like it's there for a reason.
It's almost like it's built into every washer and dryer for a specific reason. Whatever, man. It's ridiculous.
Oh my god, this is wild. I am just like, who lives like this? Like, who would do such a thing?
That's my tale of woe. I mean, I guess on brighter news, I got some sound foam for my office. They're cool. They're all hexagonal shaped. So I kind of, and they have like fancy. An adhesive back. So I just kind of stuck them onto my wall. It's kind of like a beehive. I got 12 of them. It came in the pack, and I honestly might order another pack if, like, this makes a noticeable difference, because, you know, I can still kind of hear the echo in my head. I don't know if it'll show up while I'm recording. Hopefully it's better than it was last week. Either way, that's my fucking update. How are you doing, Jake?
I am doing pretty fantastic. There is like a part-time gig for a bookstore that I really like. And I went in and put an application for that. And I was like, maybe I can get like a second job just for the weekends or something. Something, you know, just kind of fun.
Fuck yeah.
And so we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed. And God, I just love old bookstores.
Me too. I love books. I need to read more. I got some cool sci-fi books for Christmas from my mother that I am looking forward to having time to read.
I went to this bookstore that I applied at the other day, and that's where I found out that they were hiring. And I bought a couple books, like one that I've heard was really good, one that I've read some other stuff by that author. And then I was just kind of perusing the $1 section.
Ooh,
and
fun.
I found a book called Michael and the Magic Man. And I looked it up. This author's never written anything else, but It's got decent reviews, and it just sounds absolutely buck wild.
Is it about Michael Jordan and Irving Magic Johnson?
No, it is about some failed actor named Michael who is traveling around in the back of a van with the Magic Man, trying to save the world from invaders.
Well, damn, that sounds pretty fucking cool to me.
It's kind of goofy, and I love it.
Well, hey, Jake, speaking of kind of goofy and loving it, would you like to talk about Gundam?
Oh, I'd love to.
Just Gundam time, you know what you're here for. We got our little banter out of the way. We got some episodes. These were pretty fun, I think. I liked them. I had a good time with these episodes.
The third episode kind of got me in the feels a little bit. It was a little like ouchie, ouchie, oofy, but it was still really good.
It's good. So, anywho's, I'm using the Gundam Wiki's episode summaries, so they're a little less in depth than mine are, but that's okay. We'll fucking, we love it. Okay, I have it up. All right, Jake, let's get into it. Without any further ado, we're going to start out this week talking about Mobile Suit Gundam Double Zeta episode 22, Judo Sorties, or Judo into Battle, one of the two. I guess, the translation's not necessarily that accurate, I guess, if there's multiple sources. Either way, in this episode, the attack on Earth by Haman Karn's Neo Zeon fleet is now in full swing. To rescue Lena, Judo attaches bombs to the Double Zeta and then launches into battle on his own. Alone, Judo pursues the battleship Sadalon. Haman, sensing his new type potential, invites him aboard. This one was cool. We got to see Haman.
Oh yes, we did. She's got a new outfit.
She's got the outfit. It's a fucking sick look. It's a pretty sick look. And this episode starts. Speaking of pretty sick, Argama's heading to Earth. We knew this already. Medchar returns to the ship. Unfortunately, yeah, this fucking guy. But Jake, he brought a little something, didn't he?
He brought a present for me and you.
What could it possibly be? What could this strange mobile suit-shaped tarp be hiding?
So they take the tarp off, they unwrap the present, and wouldn't you know it, it's a Hyakushiki exactly like Lieutenant Quattro Bagina's.
Banana! It's a minion! Banana. The minion's back. I'm so happy we got to see it. I almost called it the Quattro Shiki. The Hyakushiki fucking rules. I love this thing so much. This is like one of my favorite mobile suits. It's so cool looking.
It is just like an instant classic. It looks great. Like the pilot that it's famously attached to is fantastic, and it's just a fun time. It's really good.
It's a fun time. Everyone loves it. Everyone recognizes it. Everyone wants to pilot it. It's like, well, maybe I can be the one to pilot it. And Elle's like, don't you fucking dare. Like, it's everyone, like Rue wants it, Elle wants it, everyone wants it, and I want it too.
Yeah, I would.
And I have it. I have a Gunpla of it.
You can have the Gundams. I'll take this lowly non-Gundam.
Yeah, it doesn't have the V-fin, so clearly it's less in the public eye. But unfortunately, Medchar's also here for other news, because he's like, oh, by the way, you have to fight Haman on her own ship, the Sadalon. But this fucking dude is so hopped up on the ship that he brought back before. He's like, use the high mega cannon, we love it. Like, fucking, all this guy knows is shoot it with a big cannon and send the Gundam team, because the Gundam team rules. It's like, you gotta think of like a single other tactic, my guy.
He's just a fan of the show.
That's the problem. He knows what shows he's on. He needs to like start thinking like it was like, think using tactics of a different show, not Gundam, because we all know how it ends.
And Bright kind of thinks that like it's an impossible mission, but like, my dude, you've seen what that cannon can do. You just like
fucking
boom.
It's a weapon of mass destruction. The problem is getting in close to use it. So
yeah, it's the click button and win.
Yep, exactly. And speaking of getting mad at characters, we cut over to the hangar, and the fucking devil on his shoulder and the devil on his other shoulder, Bisha and Mondo, are talking to Judo, and they're basically convincing him to strap a fuckload of bombs to himself and the Double Zeta, fly to Haman's ship, and basically wager himself to blow himself up. if they don't give him Lena. And Judo's like, oh yeah, fuck, yeah, sounds good, cool, fuck yeah, dude, let's do it.
I don't see what could possibly go wrong with this.
Like, at this... I hate Peach and Mando so much. At this point, it's like... They've tried to get their redemption, you know, fighting for the Argama, and that's fine. But then the next episode, they're like, yeah, let us actively try, like, and they literally say that as much. They're like, yes, we're going to get Judo killed. We want to get Judo killed, so he's no longer the main character. They say that it's time that this ship has a new main character, and it's like, you fucking psychopaths, you little freaks, you want to kill your friend? No!
But thankfully, Shinta, Kum, and Haro over here, and they're like, we have to go let Judo know.
Is endlessly frustrating. Oh, God, I hate these kids so fucking much. Anyways, we, you know, he's already, like, trying to take off, Judo is, and he's not really listening, and Haru's like, Judo in trouble, Shinta and Kum in trouble, Judo in trouble, Shinta and Kum in trouble. Because Shinta and Kum get taken by, I forget her name, Amanda? One of the Argama's, like, secondary crew members that has a name but isn't really important at all. You know, we talked about it before.
Was she the one who was guarding Judo's cell?
She's the one who was guarding...
Anna.
Yeah. Anna. Maybe.
I think that was... It doesn't matter.
Yeah, your wife is on the Argama, it's fine. But then we cut over Jake. And then we see her.
She's putting on a new outfit, and she says, if the Argama comes for us now, we'll just put an end to it. Then we see her new outfit, and oh.
It is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like, here's the thing. She already looked really, really sick, like, in her cool, like, black cloak, black tights looking thing. But then when she puts on her, like, fucking Empress of Space outfit, it's black. It has, like, this insane gold trim. It has this fucking, like, Magneto-ass, like, front, like, visor helmet looking thing. Oh my God. It is insane. It is one of the sickest outfits I've ever seen in my life.
She looks like a goddamn superhero in the middle of this mecha anime.
She looks like a Power Rangers villain.
Yes, there we go.
She's like Rita Repulsa's cooler sister.
Like, oh man, absolutely. I'm looking at her right now, and if she had a visor on that crown helmet thing, she would absolutely be a Sentai villain. You are so right.
God, I love Hamon Karn. She's such a cool character. I hope she doesn't do anything problematic later in this episode.
Oh, it couldn't be. Definitely not.
But she mentions, and she has a couple lieutenants with her. They're her retainers. We don't get the names of all of them yet. One of the guys has like this cool, like white swoopy hair. I don't believe we ever get his name, but he's cool looking. And she has another guy who I don't even remember. But she also mentions another like Neo Zeon Axis commander named Rakan Dakaran. Rakan Dakaran. That guy.
Rakan Dakaran.
Dakaran. Nah, he's cool. He is sleeveless. You know if the character's sleeveless, he's a fucking sick guy. And he gets in a new mobile suit called the Dryson. This thing is sick.
Oh my God, it looks like if you took the Rick Dom and then you made it like you gave it more weapons and you made it space friendly and and you give it a big old staff.
It's like it's this really cool like dark purple and dark navy two-tone. You got like instead of black, you get like gray tubing and wiring, and you get like some fucking Gatling cannons in the wrist. You have you have that cool red sort of visor trim that Dom has and the mono eye. You have the gold vents up front, and then it has a fucking like beam halberd. It's like not quite a Naginata, I don't think, because the way the beam comes out of it, but like, God, the Dryson is so fucking sick looking. I love it so much. It's a chunky boy too. He's cool looking.
Yeah, and like, so at first I thought that it was kind of the weapon it was holding was like a bow staff kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Since the Rick Doms that it takes its appearance like heavily inspired by. Had those like swords that weren't quite beam sabers.
Yeah, it just had the
I thought this was like a staff version of that.
Mm-hmm. But no, it has a beam emitter.
Later we see some tricks.
God, it's so cool, and he gets in it, and he like flies off. Everyone in Zeon looks so cool. Too bad they're Nazis. Oh well. And then Hamon Karn, in a sort of to get morale boosted for her soldiers, she goes on the hologram projector thing. And she basically is like, we're going to take over Earth. I'm Hamon Karn. I fucking rule. Let's beat ass, everyone. And they love it. They all clap and hoot and holler for her.
And Then we see the Tristan fly up to the bridge, and Hamon tells him to make the Argama suffer. He flies off to do so.
It's like, damn, clam down, homie. So we're back on the Argama. The orphans are still trying to tell everyone that Judo has just a bunch of fucking bombs cut to him. And then, of course, we cut to Judo. He's floating over to the double Zeta. He's wearing a weird cloak right now for some reason. And Astanage is like, what are you doing, kid? We haven't gotten the order to launch yet. And Judo's like, oh yeah? Look at my cool fucking cloak. And then he like throws it on Astanage and reveals like the vest of grenades he has strapped to him. This is maybe not a good idea.
Yeah, so at this point I thought like they were talking him into just carrying bombs on the double Zeta. I didn't know that they meant full strap
also on him. Yeah. They mention They do mention it earlier on. They're like, yeah, you get out. You're covered in bombs. They're not going to want to shoot you at point-blank range. So he's listening, and he gets into the cockpit. And, Astanage is trying to stop him. Ino's trying to stop him. And in doing so, Ino accidentally gets tangled up in one of, like, the ropes that the bombs are attached to. And, like, has to scramble to put his helmet on as Judo fucking flies out into space. This is bad.
So they, Astanage calls Bright and lets him know. And, Bicha and Mondo are on the bridge, and they just applaud Judo's bravery. Just, hello, good sir. Yes, it's a great tactic.
You're doing such a good job, Judo. Well done, well done. 100 out of 100
you, my boy.
nobles were impressed. Fucking, I hate these guys so much. These are my least favorite characters in the show. It's like,
absolutely.
Every single time I try and sympathize with them, being like, yeah, I wouldn't want to fucking be conscripted into a military and to fight a war I don't understand. Every time I sympathize them with that, they're like, also, we're going to try and get our friend killed, and we love it. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that part. Just hate war. That's all you have to say. You can say war is bad. Not kill Judo.
And then Judo launches anyway, after Bright orders him to stop. And not until he gets out into space does he notice Ino tied on the line.
Just fucking hanging out there.
He stops to grab Ino, and Ino climbs up the rope. He's like, what's the meaning of this, Judo? How could you do this to me? And like, he's about to like whoop his ass.
Yeah, and like, Ino's trying to be like, I'm fucking stuck in here, and he's like trying to get in the cockpit, and Judo's like, pushes him out. Judo's like, well, I can't close the cockpit with that rope in there. It's like, motherfucker, you did this! You don't get to like...
This is your fault, stupid.
This is your fault. I mean, it's Bicha and Mondo's fault, but it's also Judo's fault.
Yeah.
And, he's not
this
listening. All he cares
specifically
about
is his fault.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, this one part. God. But then, like, a Xeon suit flies by, does not attack them yet. And Ino's like, let's go to the Argama, we gotta stop him. And Juno doesn't care. Judo's, like, still flying over to the to Mahan's fleet to get Lena, because he's, like, one-track mind mode right now. He does not care about the Argama in this moment.
Yeah, Ino's like, enemies are going to the Argama. And he's like, I don't think Lena's on the Argama, so I don't see why that's my problem. Bye.
God. Fucking freak. So, all these kids. Anyway, Judo's still flying, and he ends up making it to one of the Xeon ships. And he kind of peeps up to the bridge. Like, we see, like, Double Zeta's face, like, wow, just, like, pop up inside the window of the bridge. And he's like, where's Lena? And the Xeon guy in there is like, we don't have a mobile suit called Lena in here. And at this point, like, a Gallus J flies up and starts attacking him. And he ends up, like, tangling one of the strings of bombs on it and, like, chucks it into the bridge. And, like, the ship just, like, kind of starts blowing up. It's like, fuck. Dude.
Yeah,
Judo, you're killing
Judo.
again.
He did a little bit of a murder.
Just a little bit of a murder.
And while this is happening, Hamon feels kind of a new typey pressure from Judo over on her ship.
Yeah, she picks up on this kid, this little freak-ass kid, and she's like, I like this, actually. This rules. Let's fuck this kid up. And
one of the guys on her bridge tells her that Judo is apparently looking for some person named Lena. And Hamon's like, oh yeah, that's the girl that is in Glimmy's custody.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, he's flying around. Yeah, Glimmy. I want to know what Glimmy's fucking deal is. But she ends up calling out to Judo, new type Y. She DMs the boy, because Judo's flying around the bridge of the whatever her ship is called.
The Satellon.
The Satellon, thank you. And he's like, don't get so carried away, Double Zeta. And he's like, what the fuck? And she pops up on the hologram.
Like, what are you talking about? Because
Yeah, well, I'm baby. I'm baby. And she gets up on the hologram, and she tells him that she's like, hey, Lena is aboard my ship. Come hang out. And of course, Judo does not believe her, and Ino doesn't believe her, but Judo's like, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm the main character. I get to decide where I go. I'm the master of my own fate. This is a bad idea. This whole episode is just like, Judo, do not do this.
Yeah, it was kind of like in the last few episodes, Judo kind of learned like, hey, you got to work with us. And then in this episode, he's like, nope, I'm back on my bullshit again.
I will work with the mobile suits that you're giving me in order to get my sister back. That's what I'll do, and I'm allowed to.
But he lands in the hangar of the Sarolan. And is approached by guards.
And of course, he's like, hey, back the fuck off. I got grenades. And they're like, oh, shit. So that part of the plan kind of worked, unfortunately.
And he tells them that the Double Zeta is not unmanned, so don't fucking try it.
Yeah, Eno's like peeking his head out of the cockpit right now. Poor Eno.
And he notices that Haman is standing on like the railing up above the hangar. And she hops down and grabs his shoulder and is like, come with me.
Come with me. And she just like fucking yeets the kid away. She like grabs him and darts off. And the guard's like, wait, what the fuck, lady? Come on. And they're like, going through the ship. She's like going really far ahead. And she like ends up taking him into a darkened room so they can just have a nice little heart-to-heart chat. And then she starts going the fuck off on some new type bullshit.
And she says there seems to be some sort of attraction between us.
Weird way to phrase it, Haman.
Puts her hand on his shoulder.
Haman, don't do this.
Don't you feel that we are the same?
No, don't do this, Haman. Please, no, Haman, don't do this.
He just completely ignoring it says, don't tell me what to think. Tell me where my sister is.
Yeah, I love that. Judo's like no-selling this entire thing. He's like, I don't fucking care about you, weird-ass lady.
And she reveals that like she obviously lied. And that you came here because you felt an attraction to me. As a new type, you should feel the desire to obey me.
And then she pulls him into the soup at this point. It's all spacey, and Judo's like, this is fucking weird. It smells kind of nice, though. And he likes it. And then, in one fucking moment, Haman Karn turned from hashtag I'm with her to hashtag lock her up. Because then she's like, goes in for a kiss on Judo. And I'm like, no, fucking, no, don't, Haman, no, please don't do this, Haman. You're so cool. Don't kiss the 14-year-old boy.
But then the guards show up and they ruin the smoochy time.
Thank God. Is no one able... I'm starting to think that every new type in this show is a fucking freak, Jake. Everyone's a freak. Everyone's messed up.
Yeah, it's like if your mind evolves faster than your body can keep up, maybe something's not right there.
It's not good. And of course, the soldiers, again, thankfully drive them off. And he runs away. He's like, oh, fucking see ya. And we cut back over to the Argama, and Rakan's ship is still hanging out. He, like, pops out of the dummies he was hiding in. He's, like, right next to the Argama at this point. And the bridge crew are like, hey, at this speed, we're going to ram the Argama. And he's like, fuck yeah, we are. I'm going to shoot anyone who doesn't keep on ramming this ship into the Argama. This guy fucking rules. He's just like, I'm going to do more. I mean, it's not good that he wants to do more, but it's good that he's just like, yeah, this fucking rules, dude. He loves it.
And, the Argama tries to, like, dodge out of the way, and they keep shooting the cannons at it. And Feature's like, oh, we're all going to die!
Maybe you're going to die, and I'm happy about it. It is cool, though, in this moment, because Bright has Taurus constantly fire the high mega cannon, and essentially that gives enough force to the Argama to kind of push it out of the way, like, out of the trajectory of Rakan's ship. So it just, like, the wing clips it a little bit. And it's like, that's kind of a cool little touch. But then at that point, Rakan gets the news that the Double Zeta's in Haman's ship, so he, like, retreats and flies back to fix the problem.
As he's heading back to the Saladon, or whatever it's called.
Stalan. Now I remember what it is.
Judo is inside the Saladon, throwing grenades and running away. And he's kind of aimless. He's trying to find his way out. And at one point, the guards and Haman catch up to him, and she tells them to hold their fire. And he says, I'm glad you're covering for me, lady, but you're way too scary. And he runs away again.
Yeah, he's like, thanks, weirdo, see ya. It's just like, he's taking advantage of her kindness. Good for him. And he ends up making it back to the Double Zeta, and he notices that all the bombs have been kind of cut loose, because of fucking course they have. But then he just uses his, like, double beam blaster thing to, like, blow a hole and escape and fly out. It's fine. No problem.
Because these doors are paper thin, as we've discussed before, I believe.
I mean, honestly, I think it's less that the doors are paper thin. It's more that the Double Zeta just has, like, an absolutely obscene amount of power in its beams. They can just shoot basically anything, really.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even need a head cannon for that. And he's no, head cannon, huh?
Oh, huh?
I'm rotating it in my mind. Double Zeta head cannon. I'll tug that away for later. So, he's back in the Double Zeta. He flies out. And now the Dryson is here. It's Rakan, and he's fighting with Judo. And he uses this, like, fucking sick beam halberd. It is, God, it's so sick. It has like a halberd on one end, and then it just has like a regular beam saber poking out the other end. It's like double, it's like half of a Darth Maul, kind of.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I didn't even think about Darth Maul.
It's just, it's cool. Rakan's cool. The Dryzen is cool. Remember when it shows that Wow Cool Robot not kissing 14-year-olds? I remember 10 minutes ago when this didn't happen.
And he swings his weapon and like really like digs into the Double Zeta's chest.
Yeah, he's like about to like cut it apart. But thankfully the day is saved by Ellen Rue, who finally shown up. And they like fire on him, and he's distracted enough for Judo to attack him, and he ends up cutting the Dryson in half, hamburger style. But Rakan pops out in the little basketball escape pod, and he lives to fight another day. Thank goodness.
Yeah, I was like, at first I thought like he was about to die, and I was like, no, but he's too cool. Like, why only one episode?
I figured he wouldn't, just because they gave him a full first and last name and an actual character design and his own mobile suit. So I'm like, okay, he's probably important. We're gonna see him later. I hope we do. Episode's nearly over. We kind of cut. We get a short scene of Lena doing ballet. Good for her. That's cute. It's just a nice little, you know, it's good.
Which is, and then Judo like shouts again to the aimless void of space that he's going to save her.
Yeah. Again. And we see the bridge and the Argama. The orphans are like bonking Bicha and Mondo on the head with some sticks because of their crime. And they're like, well, if it weren't for the bombs, Judo wouldn't have been able to make it back in the first place. And Bright says something weird to himself at this point, because he's like thinking of like how Judo was able to return alive. And I think Bright's take is more that like, well, since he's a new type, he would have been able to come back anyway. But it's still just like a very strange, confusing scene at the end. Yeah,
I was kind of not sure what exactly he was saying. It was, like you said, it was very weird.
It's weird, but fucking... this is about the point where the show gets all weird about new types, so I'm it's fine. It's normal. Normal show. Stupid show. Bad Gundam show.
Love it.
You want to move on to the next episode?
Oh, I'd love to. Episode 23. Earth ablaze. At last, the Neo-Zeon forces descend to Dakar, where the Federation Parliament is located, in order to seize control. The Argama sets out to attack the Satellon and stop its descent, but Glimmy leads the Sandra forces and returns fire. Amidst the battle, the brainwashed El People attacks in the Quebli Mark II.
Yeah, we got fucking... Dun-dun. I love the episodes of Gundam. I love how every series really does this, where it's a fight within the gravity well of a planet. Like, right? It's always sick. It never doesn't rule. I love to see it every single time.
You would think that it would get old, but it doesn't.
No, absolutely not. It fucking rules. It beats ass. So this one, we kind of have like a cold open almost, where we see El People in the cockpit. She's just fucking chilling out, and Glemmy is talking to her, and this is just like, it's fucked up, right? Because this is basically El People getting brainwashed, like getting conditioning that she needs for being a cyber new type. Like Glemmy's saying, Gundam's her enemy, Gundam and Judo are her enemy, but she's like, but Judo's my brother. These fucking freaks really need to stop telling cyber new types that they have siblings. I feel like that's a main source of conflict here. Like, I mean, with 4 it's different. But Rosamia, she needed a brother. It was either Camille was her brother, or Gates was her brother, and now El People is like, Judah's my brother, and it's just like, maybe I'm starting to think I'm noticing a pattern here.
Yeah, it's a little uncomfy.
Not great at all.
And she keeps saying that, like, no, he's my big bro, and they're like, no, he's your enemy. You must kill him. And eventually she repeats it. But it is a struggle to get her to. Yeah, and like she's getting fucking blasted by Gundams in this simulation. Like she gets attacked by the Mark II and the Zeta and the Double Zeta. And like as this is happening, we kind of cut out to the outside of her simulation because it's just like she's in a little pod and Glemmy and fucking Dr. Wily from Mega Man are here. Leno's walking by and she kind of hears this commotion in the door. And like Glemmy's talking to him. He's like asking how the indoctrination is going. And he mentions how he wants to take her to Lady Haman right away, despite the fact that she is, like, literally passed out on the floor at this point. Yeah, and Glemmy's like, aren't you a doctor? Just find a way to deal with it. With her being all worn out. Glemmy, Toto problematic moments. This is his first one ever. He's never done anything wrong up until now. Never at all. Never at all. Never in his life. And he also does mention to Lena at this point. He's like, oh, yeah, by the way, you're going to get to Earth and you're going to make your debut in high society. I love that, like, this weird... Like, what is the end game here of the whole Glemmy Alina situation? Because, like,
I can understand us keeping Lena around as a chip for judo, but like turning Lena into like, giving her debut and teaching her piano and ballet. It's like, what is this going to be like a demonstration of the fucking like refinement of Neo Zeon and how they can turn even this random Ayug person into like a fucking the Bella de Ball.
Yeah, it's just really, really bizarre. It's that's one thing I've been really trying to wrap my head around. Like, why is he doing this? Why does he?
To what end, Glemmy?
Yeah, and like he didn't realize at first that she was going to, or that she was like the Double Zeta's pilot. So that's not why he did it in the first place.
I just don't get it.
It's really baffling, and like
I
can't see anything not creepy coming from it. Like I know that there's not anything like I don't know. Whatever he's doing is harmful.
Yeah, exactly. It's not good.
Yeah.
Like I really like how these episodes are starting to lean into like, yeah, Glemmy's maybe not a good guy. Well, okay, he's not a good guy. He's part of Neo Zeon, but it's like within that, it's starting to be like, I think like the show's leaning into maybe Glemmy's not as good and chivalrous and normal as you think he is. There's a couple lines later on that make me hashtag thinking face about Glemmy. But anyway, Glemmy ends up pulls unconscious body out, and Lena's like, is something wrong with that girl? And Glemmy says, it seems she's a bit anemic. No, dog, you just fucking pumped her full of MDMA Wario pill.
Nope, she just needs to eat some raisins. She'll be okay.
Is something wrong with that girl? Yes. And he walks away.
Yes, and it's my fault.
I did this, Lena. We cut over. We're in the Argama in the hangar. Beach and Mondo are slacking, and they just don't want to fight. They don't want to be a part of this at all. They don't get it. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm back on their side again.
And Shinta and Coom yell at them for slacking. They're like, we're not slacking. We're talking about serious stuff. And Bright shows up behind him, and he's like, oh, yeah? I'd love to hear about your thoughts.
Would you like to share with the class, Beach and Mondo?
And they're like, not that we don't want to fight, but we don't really know why we're fighting.
Mm-hmm. It's like, this part is very, very good. I like this scene a lot.
Oh, yeah, the opening of this episode, all the stuff here on the Argama that we're about to talk about was really good. I ended up, like, for my notes, almost just writing out the script, because there was so much good conversation. So Bright asks, is saving the Earth not good enough? They're like, it's fine, but we're space noids. It's not really our fight. And he's like, so am I. But Earth is where all of us originally came from. It's our duty to keep those who have never left Earth for space from defiling it.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the subtitles had a little bit of weird wording there, because it sounds like they're trying to keep the people from Earth from defiling space, and I don't think that's what they meant.
It's a little clunky. An interesting read that I kind of got when I was watching this was like, that's almost like a reason. It's like a self-criticism and also a reason not to be like that, because, Bright's talking about, well, even though we haven't been to Earth, we're from Earth as a species, but it's like, at what point is like the origin of where you're from really that important? Like, I guess for Gundam it makes more sense because they're not out of the solar system or anything, right? They're still on Earth and only in space around Earth. But it's like, I feel like that's nearly almost a reason for these kids not to be fighting for it anyway, because they don't know Earth. They're fighting, Bright basically saying, yeah, fight for something that you don't understand. Fight for something that you don't know. But, like, you're supposed to understand and like it. At this point, it's kind of getting away from me. But I feel like there might be something there where it's like, Bright's explanation as to why they should be fighting to save the Earth almost falls on deaf ears, because his argument is the exact argument that they would use on why they don't care. They're like, yeah, we're not from Earth. Like, exactly. Again, you're basically making us fighting for an ideology that we've never really been accustomed to. So I don't know. It does another good scene showing how Ayug is flawed ideologically, which I like. I always like to see stuff like that.
And they kind of fire back with, Judo's fighting to save his sister, and we don't have anything like that. Yeah, and again, that's a cool. I feel like that's another, not juxtaposition, but like, you look at what Judo's doing, and Judo is doing like maybe the only character doing like an abject good. I mean, again, Neo Zeon is like Nazis, so it makes sense. It's good that Ayug is fighting them.
But like, Judo is not fighting for an ideology. He's not fighting for one side or another. He is merely fighting to save his sister at this point. So it's like, you know, there's never that ambiguity of what Judo's doing right. I mean, maybe the way he's doing it is not right because he's killed hundreds of people at this point, but like, his end goal is the only one that you can't really apply an ideology towards. It's just like, yes, he is saving his sister. He's saving a loved one. He's saving a family member. And like, there is no way to kind of criticize that for him. I don't know. I like it.
And after he saves his sister, who knows what he's going to care about. But like, yeah, right now he's not fighting for the war. He's fighting because his sister's on the other side.
Yeah. And Rue and Elle show up here. And Rue is like, yeah, well, he's probably going to stick around. Like, you know, he's the kind of guy who feels the need to shoulder everyone's burden. And Elle's like, yeah, he's laid back, but he's not stupid. And it's just like, you know, they're all saying, you know, Judo's going to stick around. Even after he rescues Lena, he's still going to, like, buy into the ideology, which is a little concerning that they're saying that. But, you know, fucking whatever. Who gives a shit?
And so then Bright is like, wants to go talk to Judo. Judo's over there working on the Double Zeta. And Bright comes up to him and he's like, hey, Judo. And he kind of grabs his shoulder and he's like, do you resent me? And I sure fucking do. But,
yeah, I would have been like, yes, go away. I realize I skipped around a bit because what I just said with Rue and Elle happens after this scene, but it all blends together. But yeah, Judo's like, I don't really resent you because like Judo gets that, like, I don't know. I think Judo understands that Ayug is the quote-unquote good guys, and they're on the quote-unquote right side of all of this. Again, please don't take that out of context. Don't take me going quote-unquote right side against, like, you know, one side is Nazis. But I feel like at this point, if you listen to all the episodes of the show, you understand, you know, where we fall on this kind of issue. But it's just like, Bright, I feel like, doesn't get to do this. I feel like Bright shouldn't be allowed to ask if people hate him because he deserves to get hated for so much of the shit he does, you know?
And, yeah, man. And honestly, it was just really bizarre and also so unprofessional. You can't ask your employees that.
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, Bright's their boss. That's a little... I don't know about this. The balance of power is a little strange, a little sus here. The fucking... one of the last things we get here after Judo goes off, he's like, yeah, he's all business. He's like, I'm going to work on the balloons for all these mobile suits. He goes off and, like, he asks Rue, Bright asks Rue, is like, is Ayuk just? And Rue's like, yeah, if it wasn't just, no one would be fighting for them. Which is like, again, it's like a this side versus that side sort of thing. Ah, Jesus, that was scary.
What was that? You okay?
I dropped my phone on my laptop, that's all.
Oh, okay. I just heard like, the war has come from X.
No, God, no. Yeah, it was a really good scene. Good fucking show so far. And then we cut over and fucking more Glemmy time. Let's go.
So Glemmy shows up on the Sadahan to go talk to Lady Haman, and Pole just walks out right behind him. She's just all up and ready to go, I guess.
She's normal now.
Having a normal one for sure.
Big air quotes. And, you know, Glemmy is introducing LP Pool to Haman. And Pool's just like glaring at Haman right now. She does not seem like she's very happy right now. But Haman's like, oh, this fucking rules. Fuck yeah, more new types, baby. Let's go. But then we get a weird little line after Pool's walked off. Because Haman is talking to Glemmy. They're walking and talking. And Haman sort of expresses relief that Glemmy's here, not taking over Axis in her absence. And Glemmy says, he's like, Axis can be rebuilt, but there's only one of you, Lady Haman. And she's like, how do you know there's only one? And I'm like, what the fuck?
I screamed. I was like, please no, not clones, anything but clones.
I get that, like, you know, leader of a military organization, body double, etc. But it's weird for her to just kind of say it out loud.
Right?
How could a body double effectively capture Haman's hair? It can't be done. It can't be done. And then she kind of leaves. And she says something very weird to her retainers as she walks away. Because she's like, make sure you manage Glemmy's bodyguards carefully.
She also says that when they invade, or when they take over the Federation, that she's going to introduce him to them as her aide.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she, like, mentions, you know, promises Glemmy, like, a sort of role in her organization higher up. But then she leaves, she's like, yeah, keep an eye on this fucking guy. So it's like, I really, really want to know what Glemmy's deal is now.
Yeah, Glemmy says something later that also has me being like, ooh. But we'll get to that.
We'll get there. But yeah, in this one episode, Glemmy's become, like, way more interesting of a character to me just because of these couple lines, which I'm really, really like.
And so we cut back to the Argama, and they can see that the enemy is targeting Dakar, and they get a news report from I wrote it down, but I can't think of the name right now. Karaba, yeah, they get like a report from Karaba that Dakar has been infiltrated by Axis spies, and that Axis has effectively already taken control of Dakar.
Uh-oh. Maybe not great.
Everyone's real upset, and then Judo's just like, "Hey guys, what's up? I have your lunch for you." All
I
happy.
have sandwiches. And, he sort of like hears about all this, and he hears that they're planning to attack the Sadalan, but they don't know which of the three sort of ships, because the Hamon's fleet right now is the Sadalan, the Mindra, and the Sandra. And, they don't know which one Hamon's in. And, like, Judo sort of hears this, and he starts scheming, because he's like, well, Lena's got to be in one of these things. And, he goes in the locker room to sort of prepare as such. And he's, like, telling Ino about the plan. He's like, yeah, I'm going to attack their balut so they can't go to Earth, and then he can infiltrate. And Ino's like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude, let's do it. Like, Ino's just, like, fully in. Yeah, they're bros.
You know what? Speaking of Ino and, like, this moment right here, honestly, when we first started the show, I thought that, like, Bicha and Mondo were going to be, like, just kind of, like, rascals, and that Elle was going to be, like, the girl love interest, and that Ino seemed really forgettable. And, like, I was like, not much is going to happen with this guy. He's just going to be there. But no, Ino's like kind of becoming my favorite of his friends right now. Like, or I guess has been for a while. It took me until this episode to realize it. But I was like, I think Ino is my favorite of his friend group.
I know. It's like, they're doing very interesting things. Wow, Jesus. They're doing very interesting things with all of the Shangri-La kids that I really appreciate. Like, it's not just, Bicha and Mondo turning into like these fucking freak-ass murderous traitors. But it's like everyone is really getting a lot of development that I appreciate.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. So, Judo goes off to fucking continue scheming, and Haro is like asking Judo if he's okay. He's like, Judo, are you okay? Are you okay, Judo? And then, as Judo walks off, he grabs Haro and he chucks it at Rue when they get to the hangar to knock her away so he can take the Zeta, because the Zeta is like the most maneuverable. So it's like what'll allow him to like zip zoom up there and like, dart around enemy fire. And Ino's like, just let him. You know what he's like when he's like this.
He said, this is I think my favorite line of these 3 episodes. He goes, just this once, let Judo do what he wants. I'm like, just this once? Just this once, Ino? Not every episode?
This one time? Really?
Just this once, please. I know that he's the main character, but like, please this one time, let him do something a little crazy.
Yeah, God.
Let him get a little wacky just once.
A little nutty with it. But yeah, he goes Dorito mode and he flies off in the Zeta. And then we cut over, we're on the Mindra. And Glemmy gets the news that or maybe this is Sandra. The Mindra is, so the Sadalan is the red one, the Mindra is the yellow one, and the Sandra is the blue one. I forget which one Glemmy's on right now. I think he's on I think he's on the Sadalan, because he took LP pull to Hamon on the Sadalan.
I believe you're correct.
Yeah, but he gets the news that the Arkham has entered a combat zone, and Pull runs off to get in the Q-Blade, and Glemmy's like, are you good? Like, what is Judo to her? And she like kind of struggles a bit, and she's like, Judo is the enemy. And Glemmy's like, okay, very good, bye-bye. And then he sort of like wonders to himself, he's like, the hypnotherapy is working really well, but like the Psycom use, this synchronization is not so good. And it's like, I don't know. It seems like L People isn't fully fucked up in how they want cyber new types to be fucked up.
Yeah, one thing I was kind of thinking was like they really just found a kid with psychic powers and threw her in a robot without like developing those abilities and making sure she would do it well. They were just like, "Hey kid, get in here and do the thing."
It's like cyber new types are becoming younger and younger, and it's like more and more concerning because it's just like it's a perfectly good kid you're fucking up right now.
Oh, don't worry, we got 3 more in the back.
Yeah, we got a bunch of these. We got fucking kids galore. We just snatched them up from space kindergarten. It's fine.
But he orders the rest of the mobile suits to launch alongside her, and says that the Sandra will attack the Argama.
Yeah, he like launches the Zissa squadron. He goes out in his Bawu, and like as they're launching, this interrupts poor Lena's piano.
Yeah, and she's just so sad that she didn't get to practice the piano anymore.
No, yeah, I hate when I can't practice Chopin. Whatever.
And then we get Glimmy in the Bawu, and he says,
yes!
I guess Hamon has started to suspect me. My position will be in danger if I don't prove my usefulness right about now.
What's his plan?
McFucking excuse me? Does this have something to do with that new type core we were talking about the other day? They said it was no, that's just a rumor.
Oh shit, maybe it is. Maybe Glimmy is raising a new type army. Oh my god. Okay, no, I'm like, oh god, I want to know what Glimmy's deal is. Oh god, this is cool. Double Zeta's fucking good.
And he wants to keep it a secret from Haman and doesn't want her to figure out. So I'm like, what is your new type core's goal if that is what is going on?
What's the deal, Glemmy? Glemathy? That is your real name?
Apparently you're not 100% lined up with Neo Zeon because you don't want her to know about it.
God, I'm so excited for this show. Anyways, so we get that, and Pole has launched, and she's flying around. She feels Judo. She sees him, and then she starts attacking with funnels right away. There's no, like, Judo's my brother. No, she's straight up like, I'm going to kill this man. She's attacking him. And we cut over real quick. And actually, this scene is pretty cool, too. Because we're on the Argama, we're in the hangar, and Bicha is, like, refusing to launch in the Hyakushiki right now. He does not want to be a part of this. He's like, he just doesn't want to fight in the war. It's not his war. And it's like, L's chewing him out, but it's like, you don't need to chew him out for this. This one's good. It's fine. Leave him.
And then one of the small role crewmates, Traeger, is like, fine, I'll pilot it. I know enough to move it around.
Yeah, and Traeger U is here. It's Kyle XY's family.
And this makes Bicha decide to do it, which I found really interesting because he has kind of been like the selfish, like, fuck everybody, like, I just am here to take care of myself. But this guy's going to go in the Hyakushiki and get himself killed. And so he hops up in there and he's like, actually, this belongs in the hands of a good pilot. So it's mine, not for you.
Yeah. It's like, Trigger's like, it's heartbreaking. The worst man you know makes excellent point. He says, like, I hate your guts, Bicha, but you're right about this one. And like that kind of pushes Bicha to be like, all right, fuck off. I won't be the one to pilot it then. It'll be fine. It's like, I shouldn't be cheering someone getting in the mobile suit to fight. It's so conflicting.
Right? It's a real nice character growth for him. Like, he's not 100% awful anymore. He's still like 95% awful. Don't get me wrong.
He got a little bit of good in him. A little bit of good. But anyway, they all launch. And Beaches with flying out with Rue and L. And eventually we cut back over to the main battle. And Glemmy is facing down Judo right now because he's like, interrupting L people. Blah, blah, blah. I have that name trips me up every single time. But he's like, who are you in the Zeta? Because he thinks it's Rue, because, Rue's the one in the Zeta. And then Judo says it's Judo. And this, kind of, throws Glemmy off.
And then after he, surprises Glemmy, he just transforms and runs away.
Yeah, he's like, see ya!
Yeah, he's like, I ain't about this life. Bye.
He rolls up on Hamon's fleet, and he's, still trying to find Lena. And he's, reaching out for her, and he hears a new type, Big Brother! But it was Pull! She did the new type thing. She tried to, mimic Lena, and she was hiding behind, a piece of debris and starts firing on Judo again. I love that. I love that trick.
That was, it made me really sad because of Pull's whole deal is just really sad. But it was very clever, and I was happy for her for having a good plan.
Yeah, it was cool and clever. I liked it a lot. Pull's a cool character. I like her.
She is great.
We're reclaiming her.
But the big warships start preparing to enter the atmosphere, and they launch their balloons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're Judo's kind of failed in stopping them, destroying the balloons. And, they start ascending. The Sodalon and the Mindra are going down. Only the Sandra is still in the sort of gravity well. And, Rue flies back. She goes back to protect the Argama because it's taking heavy fire in the Double Zeta. Bicha and L race ahead to help Judo. And Judo's like, all right, I'm going to take a gamble now. And he just charges the Q-Blade and, grabs it and, he gets out of the cockpit and, tries to communicate with Pull to, get her fucking normal, pull her out of the soup.
He starts talking to her about ice cream and parfaits and, hey, let's go play. We can eat ice cream and have fun.
And he opens the cockpit of the Q-Blade, and L People just has a fucking gun trained on him.
And he's like, put that down. You can come with your big brother and we can go have parfaits. And then she shoots him.
She just shoots Judo. He gets got in the shoulder. But it's, so fucking funny that, you're thinking, wow, Judo's going to be able to he's going to reach out to L People and he's going to snap her out of it. No, she just fucking shoots him and closes the cockpit.
Blah, motherfucker.
It's so funny. Admittedly, as he's trying to talk to her about the chocolate parfaits and hanging out, it, is starting to affect her. But in this one scene, it's she's normal. She just shoots him. But at this point, they've, got sucked too much into Earth. They can't really fly back. And Glemmy sees, L People his expensive project falling to Earth in the Q-Blade Mark II, and he's like, survive it if you're lucky. Or you can help her.
Yeah. Well, he starts to try to rescue her, but then Ellen Beecha show up, and they start shooting at him. And that's when he's like, well, I hope you survive, kid.
Yeah. And this part's sad because she starts calling out for Judo for help. She's like snapped out. She's like, Judo, big brother, big brother.
She's like, the inside of the cockpit is burning up, and she's getting really scared.
I'd be fucking scared.
And he dives after her. He radios through to her and like kind of tells her what to do. He like transforms and has her land on his back. But there's too much drag on the wings, the big shoulders of the Queble. He's like, detach those or we're going to die.
Yeah, and she's like, I can't, they're built in. And he's like, we'll figure fucking something out. So this part's so sick, she uses the funnels to blow up the wing binders in the Q-Blade, and they're able to like fall to Earth just fine. It's so cool.
Oh my god. And then he thinks about Lena as like the two of them are falling together. And then back on the Sandra, the crew is getting buckled in and preparing for entry. And Lena thinks about Judo. And then Jake starts crying.
Yeah, yeah, and they pop the balloons and they descend, and everyone's popping the balloons. Like, you know, Ryu is, the Argama is, Beecha and L are. Everyone's descending to Earth, and we get like I love this scene. I love seeing scenes of the characters who are, you know, have been in space their whole life, finally going down to Earth, because everyone's like, oh, it's so fucking pretty, it's beautiful. They're landing on the ocean by Dakar. They're a couple hundred kilometers off, but it's like, it's just so pretty. Everyone's staring out the windows. Like, you see the shooting star look of the things descending to Earth. It's just like a really cool scene. I love whenever this happens.
One thing that I really love about this show is like a lot of the last shots of the episode are these really pretty like landscapes or just like far away shots of the crew. And this one we end with like you said, the meteor shower looking of the ships over the ocean and like with some land on the horizon, and it's just very pretty. I can't get over like just how pretty the last shots of the episodes usually are.
Yeah, it's very, very cool stuff. I like it quite a bit. Yeah, that'd be. Shall we talk about the third one, Jake?
I think we shall.
All right, we're talking about Double Zeta, episode 24. Siblings Love on the South Seas. In this episode, with the Neon Zeon, with the Neo Zeon forces now in control of Dakar, Judo slips away from the Argama after it makes a water landing in the South Seas and meets Tamon and his sister Anu. Tamon takes a large sum of money from Neo Zeon in exchange for attacking the Argama with the aquatic mobile suit Kapul. Anu worries about what her brother is about to do. We got a fucking Earth episode for once. It's part of the contract now, I guess.
This one was really interesting. It was very heavy, but it was really neat.
Every time a show has an episode that takes place like in the ocean or over the ocean, something bad is going to happen.
Well, you know how like it's sad when it rains. This is just like all the rain from all the different sad times just hanging out.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like in 0079, it was Mary who got killed over the ocean. In Zeta, it was fucking 4 who got killed the first time over the ocean. And this one isn't as tragic, but it's still just emotionally heavy too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one, we cut to Dakar in the very beginning. It's not doing so hot. Neo Zeon is like fully captured at this point.
Yeah, and they say that we need to gather the former Titans before Haman arrives.
Mm-hmm.
We see some Zakus,
round them up.
And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I like that, with the way the Axis smashes together with the Neo Zeon remnants. It's like you have, mobile suits from 10 years ago and mobile suits from current day, like interacting together, which is pretty cool. It's fun.
And we cut to the Argama, and they're ditching their balloons, and they're about to land.
Yeah, everyone loves it. It's beautiful there.
Bright's giving orders to prep them for landing, and I thought something was a typo, and then I Googled it, and it's just an actual flight term. But he tells somebody, correct our attitude, and I thought it was supposed to be altitude. So I took a screenshot of that, because I found it very funny that he wanted to correct their attitude.
Yeah, Bright, correct your fucking attitude, asshole.
Exactly.
But he also mentions that the Argama will never return to space again after this, because I guess when they come back, they're going to get a new ship from Karab or A or whoever the fuck.
Yeah,
so that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
Say goodbye to the Arkham, huh? It's so sad.
And so we leave from that, and we see Judo get out of the Zeta to check on Pole, and she is not having a good one.
Yeah, she just kind of fucking passed out. Poor girl. And we just, immediately cut over to the ocean. We get a new friend.
Ooh, yes. Okay.
You wanna walk us through the Kapool?
This is a big old round boy with it's got kind of an opening in its chest where a bunch of these red torpedo slots are. The main body is a light blue and a darker blue. It's got a hatch that they used to get inside, but it kind of looks like a big old samurai hat almost. And the reason everything's so round is that it can pull its arms and its legs into itself and turn into just a ball. And it's got these little stretchy arms with big claws on the end. Mm-hmm. It's got big shoulder flaps, interesting legs that I'm not sure how they work.
They're just big.
They're
kind of
big.
fold together a bit.
It looks like it was inspired heavily by I think it was the Hygog, maybe?
Yeah, well, so in fiction, this is developed from the Hygog. From the end of the 1 Year War. And my hot take is that this thing can't hold a fucking candle to the Hygog. The Hygog is one of the absolute coolest mobile suits ever designed. Kapool
absolutely.
You can tell that Kapool was designed after, but the Hygog is so sick. But yeah, it's the Kapool is very, very cool, which is a round blue friend. Looks like a Meryl from Pokemon. We love it.
Yeah, okay, I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, it does kind of look like a Meryl.
We love the Kapool. And it just starts fucking firing torpedoes at the Argama. Uh-oh. And Rue freaks out and dives into the Zeta and flies out. And Judo, we get a cute little scene. Judo's on one of the balconies higher up in the hangar, and he tries to jump off, and Ino grabs him. He's like, "We're not in space. You're gonna fucking die if you jump off from there."
Also, I got really confused because we immediately cut from him checking on Pole to okay, now everybody's just back. So I was like,
yeah,
where is Pole? Is she okay? We never saw if she was okay.
In the meantime, yeah. I mean, in the meantime, we see this soon, but Pole's been taken to a holding cell.
And yeah, so after Rue launches, Bright orders Judo to stand by, and the Kapool is just hopping and twirling and launching torpedoes and just zipping around in the water.
That one bit of animation looked so good.
And Rue is chasing it and firing, but it's just it's way too maneuverable and quick, and there's nothing you can do to it right now.
It's just really, it's just cool. It's a very cool animation, very cool mobile suit. One of my favorites from Double Zeta so far. And it's fighting Rue. And let's see. At this point, it's darker. The seas are a bit stormier. It's a storm's rolling in. And a fishing boat rolls up and starts signaling the Argama. It says it'll show them a safe location for 5,000 gillas, which is, whatever the local currency is. And Bright's yeah, whatever. Who cares? He's they know the place better than we do. And we do get a little cut over into Judo and Pole and L.
So yeah, Judo went to go check on Pole, and he runs into L outside of her room, and Judo tries to go in the room, but just ends up bonking his face on the door. And L's yeah, she's a prisoner, and
you can't come in here.
You two have something going on, so you're not allowed to go in there alone.
Mm-hmm. Which again makes sense because traditionally Judo, we know he'll just break her out and fucking escape.
Yep. But they L lets him in. And they give each other a big hug, and you love to see it, and they're happy to see each other. It's
cute. I like that Judo is, again, remember the other episode when I was yeah, Judo would actually, just hang back and play with Pole. He'd keep his promise. And this is proving it, because he's just being nice to Pole. He's just treating her like she's his little sister. I mean, again, it's probably because he has to satiate her and keep her from going suit mode, but, even so, I like that he's just genuinely being nice to her and isn't being freaked out by all of her strangeness.
Yeah. She complains that she can't even take a bath. And I was like, you've got a shower. Yeah, but I can't swim in the shower, and there's no bath toys.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's cute. And we cut back over. They have, the money for the fishing boat. And the fishing boat's guy's yeah, fuck you. We're going to take all your money. We lost all of our business because of the war, so it's only fair if we take money from all these warships. And I'm yes, direct action. Thank you. Take all their money. Take it away. Good for them.
And while he's taking the money from Beach and Mondo, Judo hops out of another door on the ship and just kind of lands in the boat and just kind of puts his finger up to his mouth and just gives him a little shh. And the fisherman guy is just super cool. He's like, okay, yep, we're leaving.
We're leaving. There's no one on my boat that's stowed away from the ship. Don't worry about it. Goodbye.
Only me.
Only me. And, you know, the kid's like lets him. He knows how it is. He's talked about it, like, yeah, if you're escaping from the war, like, I totally get it. Hang out with us, homie. He's cool. I like this guy. I like Taman is his name.
Yeah, he's just a cool dude. He like, I don't know. I liked him right off the bat. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, I like it. And so Elle back on the Argama cannot find Judo. He's looking around. And she runs to Pull to find him, and Pull can feel him getting further away. And Elle's like, Elle decides to take Pull so they can go find him. And then we cut back over. It's like, back and forth the scene. Taman takes Judo to his little shack on the island where his sister lives, who's named Anu. And he's like, oh, sister, she's about the same age as Lena. So immediately, I like that we get that sort of empathy from Judo. It's like, yes, I understand what this situation is like because I'm in the same situation. I have a little sister I got to take care of.
And she asks who this guy is, and Taman's like, he's just somebody I promised to take to the mainland. She's like, please don't do anything dangerous. He's like,
looking directly into the camera. It's like, well, he's definitely gonna.
And she's like, it's okay if we're poor as long as you're safe. And he's like, I gotta.
Yeah, I don't know about, like, the politics are strange. It's very much like I understand the message, but the fucking execution is...
That's Gundam, baby.
There's Gundam, I guess. And we see the Argama is, like, nestled in this little secret cove. And Pull and Elle go up to a core, and Elle's getting in, and she's like, all right, Pull, where's Judo? And Pull's like, he's on the Argama. And Elle gets out and is like, what do you mean? And then Pull, dives by, and she's like, I tricked you, bye! And just, like, fucking flies off. It rules. Good for her.
She's great. She's the best.
She's great. And then, Elle and Ino have to fly out after her as well to stop her from doing this. And then we cut over to Judo, talking to Taman and Anu, and he's, telling them about Lena. And then a guy comes in and is like, hey, got a new job, Taman. Let's make that money, baby. Get on that grind.
And because they're scared of the storms and the wind, the people who are going to pay them for their job are willing to pay double. And Anu's like, no, stop. Don't get involved in the war. This is dangerous.
This. Yeah, he goes off. And then afterwards, Anu's talking to Judo. And she's sort of telling him how these mobile suits were brought on this island. We're being paid to pilot them. And, it basically Neo Zeon recruiting the locals and paying them to be like mercenary pilots for them. So Judo has to run off to stop them. And we see them in the cove. They're being talked to by these Neo Zeon guys. And Taman is like, he's the one who gets strong-armed into getting into the Kapul to attack the Argama.
And as the Islanders like head out and jump into their mobile suits, the Zeon guys talk. And they're like, should we trust them with this new suit from Axis? Like, it's brand new. And the guy goes, who would trust an aquatic mobile suit made by people who have never even seen the ocean?
I love that. That's so good. It's like, yeah, y'all don't know what fucking water is like. You live in a rock in space.
It's just like, I ain't getting on that fucking thing. Hell no.
But, they fucking, Taman gets in it, and Judo's trying to, or rather, Taman's going to get in it, and Judo tries to stop him. He pops out from behind a crate. And he's like, you shouldn't do whatever you can in the name of survival. But it's like, oh, homie, this is not the kind of show to be saying shit like that in.
Yeah, and he's like, you're going to betray the Argama. And Taman's like, why do you care? You abandoned the ship. And then he punches Judo in the gut and kind of knocks him out. But he lays him down gently as he's falling, which was nice.
Well, yeah, it's a cute touch. He's like, oh shit, I can't make this guy fucking break his neck, bonk in his head, get some brain damage as I knock him out.
He's like, I just want him out of my way. I don't want him dead.
Yeah. And then he heads out. And they roll out. And Pull is still looking for Judo. And she hears him talking to Anu. And Anu's still begging Judo to stop Taman. And Pull flies in. And he's like, hey. And she's very jealous of Judo and Anu. She's like, who are you? What are you doing, you little hussy, tucking my little brother like this?
And they both hop into the core fighter and fly off. And she's like, you left me so you could hang around with other girls, didn't you?
I look, if this is the most drama we get from Pull, I'm glad, because it means she's not taking Wario MDMA pill,
Yeah, and
it's better this way.
She's just kind of giving him shit. I don't think she actually thinks.
No, yeah, she's just teasing him, I think.
Yeah.
As she sort of flies off, she flies past the other two cores, and they explain the situation, so they all sort of pop together, and Judo flies ahead to defend the Argama.
And Elle and Ino head back in their core fighters to warn the Argama.
Yeah. And Judo is like, all right, time to dive in. And Pull's like, have you done this underwater before? And Judo says, fuck no. And he just dunks him anyway. This baby can handle a PSI of 200 or 300, which I think is okay. They're not very deep in the ocean, so it's probably fine. And again, it's fucking vacuum sealed because he can do it out in space, so I think he'll be fine.
And so we cut over to the Neo Zeon guys, and one of the officers is telling everybody, okay, first we're going to barrage them, then we'll surface and finish them off. But then as they're about to attack, the Double Zeta shows up and does a big shooting.
Yeah, and this fight is cool because Judo refuses to fire on the civilian pilots. Like, he only wants to shoot the Zeon guys. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to kill these like mercenaries. But, Tamon doesn't realize this, and Pull's like DMing Tamon, trying him to stop. And, one of the other guy that Tamon came down with tries to retreat. And the Zeon guy just like fucking torpedoes him down. He's like, no one's retreating. It's like, Jesus, calm down. They're just like, guys, this is not good. War is hell.
And Judo starts shooting at the suits that aren't Tamon, because he knows that one's Tamon. He doesn't know if the other ones are pilots or not. But he's like, I can shoot at them. That'll be fine. It's not Tamon, at least.
Yeah.
And,
not Tamon.
One of the civilians that's working with the Zeon forces gets scared and turns to run away. And so the Neo Zeon guy just blows him up.
Yeah, that's when he gets blown up, and it's just like fucking who. And Judo ends up taking out all the Zeon soldiers, and Tamon is like, if it weren't for you, I'd be making enough money for 4 or 5 years. Like, I wouldn't need to do this. And Judo's like yelling at him. He's like crying. He's saying it's stupid and reckless. Like, fighting. He literally says, fighting sucks, man. You can't rely only on yourself. You have to rely on other people and use your bonds of friendship.
Do you think this will make your little sister happy? What will happen to her if you get killed?
Yeah, and that's what fucking gets him. Because, coming from Judo, I understand the emotional weight of this.
And he kind of comes to the realization, he's like, wait, they're using me? I'm not using them? Okay, well, it's time to go fuck their shit up then.
Yeah, he just immediately rockets away. Judo's trying to stop him, but, Tamon's not listening. He's flying off, and he's heading back to the cove where the rest of the suits are. By the way, I don't know what these suits are. I think they are,
They call them Zaku's at one point, so I was thinking like they're a type of Zaku, but
they're Zaku Mariners is what they're called.
Okay.
Yeah. They're Zaku Mariners. That's what they're called. And then he basically like has the Kapul go full speed ahead and dives out in the last moment, and it just like flies into the cove and blows all of the other ones up. But he's fine, and Anu's like looking at him from the beach, and it's like, oh shit, I was expecting this to have a bad ending. This is actually pretty good.
And he just hops out at the last second, and wouldn't you know it, everything is hunky dory, and there's a big explosion, and Anu's waiting for him on the beach, and we get that beautiful last shot of there just being this nice big rainbow over the beach now that the rain has stopped.
It's cute. It's just like wow, shit. Again, not expecting a happy ending to this, so I was very pleasantly surprised, gotta say.
There, and like you said, there is definitely probably not the place for it probably wasn't his place to tell these people how to live their lives, especially when they've been caught up in this war that they didn't want to be in. But like, so there is that kind of like problematic, like Judo doesn't realize what he's really saying to these people, but it had a happy ending, and it was
do as
really
I say, not as I do, etc., etc.
Exactly. There we go.
Yeah. Well, good episodes, I gotta say, Jake. I had another fun time this week. Hopefully next week's not fucking batshit like it usually ends up being.
I gotta see some new aquatic suits. I'm always a huge sucker for anything aquatic, so I had a pretty happy time.
Yeah. So I think I'm trying to figure it out for the schedule next week. I might as well just say it on air, because if we do 3 episodes next week, we'll be cutting into a 2-parter, which is called Lena's Blood, by the way. Don't fucking like that. So we'll talk about it. We might just do 2 episodes next week and then amend the schedule, because we'd end up doing 2 episodes anyway, because like the last episode would be 2 episodes. But maybe we should anyway. We might amend the schedule a bit just to make it make more sense to do a 2-parter. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do fucking 4 in 1 week like some maniacs. Who could possibly say? But I don't know. So, production meeting over. Good work, team. I have a little segment, a small one today, as usual. It's a Beyond Toon World, because I don't really have time right now to think of anything else to do. But we have a lot of voice actors we can go through, so it's fine anyway.
You're going to love this. Trust me. Beyond Toon World!
And this one's actually pretty cool, Jake. So let me tell you about Junichi Kanemaru. He was born October 27th, 1963 in Kofu, Yamanashi, Japan. Oh, by the way, he is... So this is what got me. He's the voice actor for Chimaru, the Colony 1 guy, the Side 1 guy who was like... Oh,
yeah, okay.
I'll help the ARG, I'm gonna sneak around. Yeah. And I was like, wow, why does this guy have a voice role? Like, is he important? Short answer, yes. So Junichi Kanemaru, he worked at a military radio station as well as a DJ in Shinjuku, Japan. And he basically, he kind of stumbled into voice acting. I think he, for one of his really earliest roles, he got the, he got the call that he was going to be a voice actor and read the script, right immediately before he had to actually record his line. So he, stumbled into it. But he does good work because he started out in 1985. Urusei Yatsura was his first role. I don't, again, as a mid-80s anime that I haven't seen, haven't really heard of either. But he's had a lot of, smaller roles. He was in a couple Sailor Moon series. Is 1986, obviously, Chimaru in Double Zeta. Another robot show, he was 1991 in Getter Roboko. He was Yuji Muto, shockingly similar to our little card game boy. I think the role that he stumbled into with the script and everything was Hayato Kazami in future GPX Cyber Formula. That sounds fucking cool as hell. One that you might recognize, Jake, in 2001 in Digimon Tamers, he was Ryo Akiyama, the guy who had Cyber Dramon. Fucking love that guy.
Okay.
He's done a couple of dubbing roles in TV shows and stuff. In Dora the Explorer, he's Swiper.
Right on.
Swiper, no swiping. Again, so many of these voice actors are voice actors for the fucking Thomas and Friends TV show. But he was the characters of Henry, Porter, Carlos, and Owen. But this is only notable because he succeeded Henry, the role of Henry, from Henry's previous voice actor, Ryo Horikawa. And now, Jake, you might know Ryo Horikawa as the Prince of All Saiyans.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so he took over for fucking Vegeta for Thomas the Tank Engine character. And one last small non-notable role. He's been the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog ever since 1998.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that guy, I think.
Yeah, a little blue fucking freak. Yeah, this guy has been Sonic the Hedgehog since Sonic Adventure. Since Sonic had a voice outside of the early 90s cartoons. Holy shit, that's pretty cool.
That is really fantastic.
He is still Sonic to this day. He is the Japanese voice actor for Sonic. In America, Sonic's had so many voice actors, but in Japan, it's really just been him since the late 90s. Good for him.
Did he dub him for the new movie? I wonder.
Oh, shit. You know what? Let's find out. What was his name? His name is Junichi Kanemaru. Junichi Kanemaru. Behind the voice actors. Doesn't look like it. No, you know what? He dubbed Sonic for the Wreck-It Ralph 2, but not for Sonic the Hedgehog.
Damn, they did him dirty.
Actually, here, I'm going to find out. I'm going to look through Sonic the Hedgehog and see who all incarnations, non-English voice actors. Taishi Nakagawa was this voice of Sonic in the movie, and he's literally only been the voice of Sonic. That's all it says. But he was born 5 years after I was, so fucking love to see people who are talented than me, more talented than me, be younger than me. It makes me feel good and normal inside. Anyways, thank you, Junichi Kanemaru. Thank you, Sonic the Hedgehog. Way past cool. Chili dogs, etc. Jake, we're wrapping up now. So now I have to ask you, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on the twitters.com at Mr. Jakey Poo. You can also find me on another podcast called A Podcast Most Foul, where my wife and I are reading through the Artemis Fowl books. We just released an episode today, about 2 hours ago. One finally came out after 3 months maybe.
A little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, right. But yeah, we're finally getting back into the swing of things. You can also catch me on Hearts Against Balance, a Kingdom Hearts-inspired actual play podcast, in which I am playing the role of Seahawk from She-Ra.
Hell yes.
And where can we find you, Mr. Max?
Yeah, as for me, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at MaxBajillion. Got a couple of other shows, including Pot of Greed, the world's number one and only Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast sponsored by Kaiba Corp. We're in the middle of GX right now, having a fucking blast doing that. You can find that on Twitter at Pot of Greed Cast. And my other show is called Slappers Only. It is a video game music showdown podcast. The episode for Monster Hunter World has come out by the time we're recording this, and we'll have recorded our episode on Persona 5 by the time this episode comes out, which is a very, very fun time. Can't wait to do that. And let's see. Oh yeah, this show itself, Wow Cool Robot, go to twitter.com/WowCoolPodcast. We have a Discord link in there. You can come hang out, talk with us, talk about Gunpla, talk about everything else, really. Go to noisepace.xyz to find this show and many, many more. It is a podcast network made by our friend Matt GameCube. Very, very good time. Love to podcast with my friends. It's the only thing keeping me sane in the year 2021. Let's see. Oh, I think it's my turn for Robot of the Week.
Show enough.
Okay. I'm looking. Okay. Ooh, I got one. My Robot of the Week is the Watcher from Horizon Zero Dawn, which is, I don't know if you played that game, Jake.
I played a little bit of it.
Wonderful game. Watchers are like the most basic machine you see in that game. They're kind of like raptors. You know, they got the tail, they got the little like stubby arms and the legs, and they're very cool looking. They got like big old like these like glowy eyes that kind of like shine light on you when they look at you.
Yeah, they're the big old camera boys. Okay, I remember them.
The big old camera boys. You can if you hit them in the lens, it'll like one shot them. It's cool. They're just cute little guys. They're not scary or anything. I mean, they can be if you fight a lot at once, but like I like them. Watchers are fun. They're cute. We like them.
Yeah.
Okay. My voice is very scratchy because I've once again ran out of water. I need to check on my fucking clothes to see if they're actually dry after my girlfriend put them back in the dryer a second time. Hopefully that worked. Otherwise, I'm going to have an angry time trying to fix the dryer.
Oh boy.
So, Jake, closing, as we always say, in the words of Sonic the Hedgehog, war is bad.
Wow, cool robot.
You're too slow.